So on the one hand, the Antichrist spirit and the Antichrist is the man of lawlessness. I believe he tries to create lawlessness. He tries to create chaos in order to take control.
Okay, so now I've got questions about Turkey. I know that there's been some major archaeological finds that are really predating the oldest civilizations that we are kind of aware of, with Göbekli Tepe and some other ones that they've just started to kind of uncover them. There's a lot of them that have been happening in Turkey. Also, we know in Turkey we have the mountains of Ararat. Another important thing happened around there was the landing of the ark with Noah, but with these ancient cities that are kind of being uncovered, there's some connections that people are saying that they might be Nephilim cities. And if you're saying that this is coming from Turkey, I think there's a spiritual connection there that is an ancient spiritual connection there. Just putting this together myself, but what's your thoughts about some of those things?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. And I think I think Antichrist very well could rise out of Turkey. I think which
is a part of Europe. Yeah.
Which is a part of Europe. But what's interesting is that Turkey kind of straddles the Islamic world and the European world. And so they're kind of this interesting bridge between the two. And there is this debate on, could the Antichrist be coming out of an Islamic background? And there's some interesting stuff there. But I think that, again, there's a reason why Jesus says, as it was in the days of Noah, so will it be in the days of the Son of Man. And so I think there's something there. If the ark is in what is modern day Turkey, and you have these ancient cities that are unexplainable that seem to be connected to the Nephilim, and one of the reasons God brought the flood in the world in ancient times is connected to the Nephilim. Again, this all seems to be coming full circle, because I think there is this kind of concept that as it was in the beginning, so is it going to be in the end. That is the biblical paradigm, that the end is pregnant with the beginning, that there is this connection. And so, I think there is a Nephilim connection. There is a Noah connection. There is a Gog and Magog connection, which is, again, it's that same spirit that was the reason why God destroyed the world in the beginning is going to come against Israel, and it's going to all end, connected to the way it ended in the beginning. And you have this comparison. In the beginning, it ended with water. In the beginning, there was this water. In the end, it's going to be fire. So I think there is this connection, between the two.
There's definitely things that we need to be looking out for there, and especially with these numbers, the 330 for Trump and 330 for Turkey. Those are the value of 330, but in opposite directions. If you have like a 0 on a timeline or on a number line, you have the positive and then you have the negative, and you can go the same amount of distance, but in the wrong direction, and you still gone that. So you have that value, but it's in the wrong direction.
Well, again, you see this concept within the Bible when you talk about numbers and you talk about this concept, because one of the most well-known numerical values that is significant among Jewish people is the number 358. Why? Because it's a numerical value of Messiah in Hebrew. Mashiach in Hebrew equals 358. Well, what's significant too is the serpent, Nachash, the serpent that deceived Eve in the beginning, which we know is the devil, Satan, equals 358. So you have the same number, Messiah 358, serpent 358. Trump 330, Turkey 330. And I think, there's a number of reasons for that, like 358 Messiah, 358 Serpent, which is there's a sense in which Satan is the great imitator.
Mm.
He doesn't create anything original. The reason why he masquerades as an angel of light is because Jesus is the light of the world. He prowls like a roaring lion because Jesus is the Lion of the tribe of Judah, right? So everything that Jesus is, Satan pretends to be or masquerades as.
Keep going with this because this is good. You're making my wheels spin.
Right? And so in the same way, right, you always have the counterfeit, which is the antithesis to the original. So so again, so even in this case of the serpent and the Messiah 358 is ultimately going to overcome the serpent 358. So even when Jesus said, like Moses lifted up in the serpent in the wilderness, so the Son of Man has to be lifted up. When you understand the numerical value, that serpent is the same numerical value as Messiah. There's a sense is literally lifting up the serpent is lifting up the Messiah 358 in order to defeat the serpent.
Okay, so we're talking about the Messiah and the serpent. So we've got the Christ and the Antichrist. We've been talking about Turkey and Europe, all these different things that are happening in our world today. We're getting closer with the Ezekiel 37 and 38 prophecies with Gog and Magog. What is your understanding about the Antichrist and what should we be looking out for?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question. I mean, obviously, the Antichrist is going to be an individual who is able to unite nations. He is someone who is going to create a false peace in Israel. So when you see the temple being rebuilt, when you see peace treaties that are being established, when you see someone who helps to unify world religions, these are all things Antichrist is going to do. What's interesting is that I think Antichrist is kind of, so on the one hand, the Antichrist spirit and the Antichrist is the man of lawlessness.
Okay.
So, but what's interesting about that is I believe he tries to create lawlessness. He tries to create chaos in order to take control. So he ferments chaos in order to create a vacuum that he steps into and is able to take authoritarian control because people are so scared of chaos. It's the one thing they don't want. People will trade freedom for security. They'll trade their freedom for free stuff. And that's exactly what the Antichrist is going to be able to do. Now, maybe we go into another time. It goes back to the days of Noah, and what was going on in the days of Noah has a lot to do with the Antichrist spirit and what's going to happen before the Messiah comes, which all ties in there. Now, I think it's, getting back into the Nephilim. Look, for a long time, I've believed, and I know you've had L.A. Mazzulli on here, who is someone I respect and is someone I've known for a number of years. What's interesting is I agree with him. I do believe that the Antichrist is tied to the alien phenomenon. And I do believe the Antichrist is connected to the Nephilim. And I do believe that part of the great deception and part of the great falling away that is coming is related to that. It's all part and parcel of the same thing. Because I just think in my mind, a couple things. One is there's a sense in which media is prophetic. Like, there's an aspect like media is about creativity, and creativity is an aspect of the prophetic.
Mm-hmm.
So in a sense, when you look at media, it either taps into the zygus of a generation, kind of the spirit of a generation. There's a sense in which it taps into the spirit of God, which is the spirit of the prophetic. And without even understanding it, things can be released, not clear, but like pieces. Or again, the enemy uses the arts in creativity, right? He's the angel of, he masquerades as an angel of light, the light of the silver screen, the light of media. And so there's an aspect of of him as the prince of the power of the air and as light, whether it's the internet airwaves in the air or, light of the silver screen. We think of media as light, internet as air, streaming through the air, the broadband being broadcasted. Okay. He's connected into that too. And there's a sense in which media is used both by the enemy and those who the enemy controls to manipulate and move people in a certain direction. So if you want to know where things are headed in the world, look at popular culture, because it's going to give you a glimpse of where they're trying to take it, where the enemy's trying to take it, where the anti-God forces are trying to take it. And think about it for a moment. Look at things like X-Men. It's kind of a hybrid, right? It's kind of a hybrid. You see a Terminator, the mixing of man and machines, the mixing of the natural and the supernatural with superheroes and witchcraft and all these things that we see going on in our movies, or go to television and look at all the shows on UFOs and on ancient aliens. And look what they're doing in these shows. One of the most popular shows on television is these shows about the ancient aliens. And what do? One of the things they do is they go through all the civilizations and they show, look, what ancient people didn't understand, but what they were really talking about were not gods, but they were aliens. Oh, look at all the religious books of the world. The things they're saying, they're really aliens. Look at Ezekiel 1 and this spinning wheel and all this they're UFOs is what people are saying. Or God, look, Israel was led as a cloud of smoke by day and as a pillar of fire by night. Well, that was a UFO. That was alien intelligence. The ark was a means of communication. Listen, I don't think any of that is true. But what I'm saying is you can see people being set up. You can see culture is being seeded for a great deception for people to begin to believe this. Because think about it. If you're going to have a one world religion, and how would you ever get all the world religions to agree? Right? The thing that people most fight about is religion.
Yeah, it's politics and religion. And you can't get people to agree about any of that. So that would be a miracle, shall I say, if that happens?
Think about it. If you say, listen, all the ancient religions were really wisdom of ancient civilizations that people didn't understand. But look, we have the advanced technology and we can even show you film from the past or how this happened. We can give you the complete history recorded by these visitors from another space or time or whatever they're going to portray themselves as being. You could simultaneously discredit all the world religions at once and move people into a one world faith, a great deception. Is that 100% for sure? I can't say it's 100% for sure, but I think it's very plausible when you look at everything that's going on in the media and with the UFOs, with the drones, with all this talk of disclosure. There's a reason why it's happening now.
Right. That makes a lot of sense to me as well. And my goodness, man, we started off talking about what is God saying about this year. We end up going about Turkey, Nephilim, and UFOs, and the Great Deception. And this is the kind of conversations that I like, because we talk about things that are really important here, because we have the blessings from God that we need to be ready to receive, but we also need to have discernment so that we are not tricked and we don't get pulled aside, because Jesus talks about this parable of the seeds and the sowers, and there's 4 different types of ground that seed falls into, and only one of them, the seed, actually grows and is good for food at that point. These other seeds it's easy to be taken away if you're not planted in good ground. And so Rabbi Jason, thank you so much for sharing.
Let me just say this, one more thing, just real quick. Is one of the things seed needs to grow is light. Mm-hmm. And 25 in the Bible is connected with light. The 25th word of Genesis chapter 1 in Hebrew is the word light. Let there be, as in let there be light, has the numerical value of 25. And Hanukkah, which is the festival of lights, begins on the 25th day of the month of Kislev. Okay. And then, according to the biblical creation account, the day God said, let there be light, was the 25th day of the month of Elul. And the day man was created was on Rosh Hashanah, the biblical New Year, the Feast of Trumpets, which was the first day, the 6th day of the month of Tishrei. So 25 is connected to light. So this is a season where we need to remain in the light. Jesus is the light. We need to stay close to him. He's the light. The light is in the word. His word is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. We need to stay in the light of the word. We need to stay close to the light of the living word and maintain our faith in him, Jesus. And again, Hebrew calendar, year of the window, the light comes through the window. So listen, we need to let the light in. We need to let the light shine, and we need to shine that light and not be deceived by the darkness that is coming. And that's the only way not to be deceived, is to remain in the light.
Amen and amen. Rabbi Jason, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. We're going to have to do more of this, because there's so much out there that we just started touching on, but we'll do another session again sometime very soon.
Thank you. Shalom and blessings.